You are about to discover the most powerful healing practice that has ever been given to humanity. A simple morning routine that takes less than 5 minutes but produces miraculous results that will amaze your doctors, astonish your family, and restore your body to perfect health faster than you ever thought possible. And I am speaking directly to you because you have been searching for something. You have been seeking the answer to your health challenges. You have been hoping that somewhere there is a key that will unlock the healing that seems to elude you no matter what treatments you try, or what medicines you take, or what therapies you pursue. What you are about to learn has nothing to do with complicated medical procedures or expensive supplements or lengthy recovery programs. It requires no special equipment, no medical supervision, no side effects, no prescriptions, but only your willingness to begin each day with a specific type of gratitude that activates the healing intelligence within every cell of your body and sets in motion divine forces that work continuously to restore you to the perfect health that God always intended for you. And when you practice this simple morning thanksgiving consistently, you will watch as healing multiplies in your life beyond anything you have ever experienced or imagined. The first moments of your morning hold a power that most people never understand. A sacred opening in the fabric of time, when your subconscious mind is most impressionable, most receptive, most willing to accept whatever seeds of thought you choose to plant within it. And it is in these precious moments, these golden minutes between sleep and full waking, that the course of your entire day is set, the direction of your healing is established, and the pattern of your life is woven into the invisible tapestry of your experience. When you open your eyes each morning, you stand at a crossroads, a divine intersection where the infinite power of God awaits your recognition, your acknowledgement, your gratitude, and the choice you make in that moment, whether to complain about your condition or to thank God for your healing, whether to focus on what is wrong or to celebrate what is right, whether to rehearse your problems or to rejoice in your blessings. This choice determines the quality of the healing currents that will flow through your body, your mind, your affairs throughout the entire day. Gratitude is not merely a polite response to good fortune. It is not simply a social nicety or a religious obligation. It is a mighty law of the universe, a creative force of unimaginable power, a spiritual technique that opens the floodgates of healing energy and allows the infinite life of God to pour through every cell, every organ, every system of your being. When you thank God before you see the evidence, when you express appreciation before the healing is complete, when you rejoice in wholeness while symptoms still linger, you are demonstrating the highest form of faith, the most powerful prayer that the human soul can offer to the divine presence within. A woman told Dr. Joseph Murphy that she had been sick for many years, and doctors could not help her, but when she began each morning by thanking God for her perfect health, even while her body showed signs of illness, something wonderful happened. The healing began to multiply, to grow, to spread through every part of her being, until she was completely restored. And she understood that gratitude was not just a feeling but a creative force that had rearranged the very atoms of her body according to the perfect pattern of health that God had always intended for her. Your morning thanksgiving is like a key that unlocks the treasure house of infinite healing, like a signal that tells your subconscious mind to begin the work of restoration, like a divine command that sets in motion all the laws of life and health and wholeness that operate continuously throughout the universe, waiting only for your recognition, your acceptance, your grateful acknowledgement to begin their perfect work in your body and your life. The subconscious mind does not reason or argue or debate. It simply accepts whatever you impress upon it with feeling, with conviction, with grateful recognition, and when you begin your day by thanking God for your healing, you are impressing upon this mighty power within you the pattern of perfect health, the blueprint of wholeness, the divine image of yourself as God created you to be. This is why the practice of morning gratitude is so vital, so necessary, so absolutely essential to your healing, because it establishes the dominant mental atmosphere for the entire day. It sets the tone of expectation. It creates the fertile soil in which the seeds of healing can take root and grow and multiply beyond anything you have ever experienced before. Every morning when you wake, before you allow your mind to drift toward problems or symptoms or difficulties, before you permit worry or fear or doubt to enter your consciousness, speak these words with deep feeling and complete conviction. Say them aloud or silently, but say them with your whole heart. Thank you for healing every organ and every cell of my body. Thank you for the life and strength and vitality that flows through me now, and as you speak these words of thanksgiving, feel the truth of them, sense the reality of perfect health that is already yours in the mind of God. Accept the wholeness that belongs to you as surely as you accept the air you breathe or the ground beneath your feet. A man said to Dr. Joseph Murphy that he had tried many forms of treatment for his condition. He had visited countless doctors and specialists. He had taken every medicine and followed every prescription, but nothing seemed to help until he discovered the power of morning gratitude. And when he began each day by thanking God for his healing, the condition that had troubled him for years began to fade away. And within a few months he was completely whole and healthy and strong, and he realized that all along the healing had been waiting within him, waiting for his grateful recognition to set it free. When you thank God each morning for your healing, you are not trying to convince yourself of something that is not true. You are not engaging in wishful thinking, or positive self-talk, or mental manipulation. You are aligning yourself with the deepest truth of your being. You are recognizing the reality of perfect health that exists eternally in the mind of God. You are acknowledging the wholeness that is your divine birthright and your natural inheritance as a beloved creation of the infinite intelligence that governs all life. This is a fundamental principle that you must understand if your morning practice of gratitude is to produce the miraculous results that it can produce, that it will produce, that it must produce when you apply it with unwavering faith and consistent dedication. For you see, healing is not something that you must create or manufacture or bring into existence. Healing is something that already exists, perfect and complete and whole in the realm of infinite possibilities, and your gratitude is simply the bridge that connects you to this existing reality. The pathway that leads you from the appearance of sickness to the truth of health, the key that opens the door between what seems to be and what actually is. Every cell in your body knows how to be healthy. Every organ knows its perfect function. Every system knows its ideal pattern of operation, for these patterns were established before you were born. They are written in the very fabric of your being. They are part of the divine plan that brought you into existence, and when you thank God for your healing, you are giving permission for these perfect patterns to assert themselves, to express themselves, to manifest themselves in your physical experience, regardless of what symptoms or conditions may temporarily appear to contradict them. Think of it this way: your body is like a magnificent garden that was designed to bloom and flourish and produce abundant fruit. But sometimes weeds appear, sometimes storms come, sometimes the soil seems barren or the plants seem wilted. But beneath the surface, the life force is still there. The seeds of health are still present. The potential for perfect growth and flowering is still intact. And your morning gratitude is like the sunshine and rain that awakens this sleeping potential and calls it forth into full and glorious manifestation. A woman told Dr. Joseph Murphy that she had suffered from a serious illness for several years, and the doctors had given her little hope for recovery. But she began the practice of morning thanksgiving, and every day without fail she would wake and immediately thank God for her perfect health. And at first, nothing seemed to change. The symptoms remained. The test results were unchanged. But she continued faithfully, gratefully, expectantly, and gradually. She began to notice small improvements, little signs of healing, subtle changes that grew stronger and more noticeable with each passing day, until finally she was completely restored to perfect health, and the doctors could find no trace of the illness that had once seemed so serious and so permanent. The practice of morning gratitude for your healing works because it establishes a new pattern of thinking, a new rhythm of consciousness, a new habitual response that gradually replaces the old patterns of worry and fear and negative expectation that may have been operating in your subconscious mind for years, perhaps for decades. Perhaps since childhood, when you first learned to associate certain symptoms with certain fears, certain conditions with certain limitations, certain diagnoses with certain futures that you did not want to accept. Your subconscious mind is like a faithful servant that works tirelessly to bring into your experience whatever patterns and beliefs and expectations you have impressed upon it most deeply and most repeatedly. And if you have been impressing upon it patterns of sickness and limitation and fear, then these are the experiences it will continue to create in your life until you consciously and deliberately begin to impress upon it new patterns, better patterns, patterns of health and wholeness and perfect vitality that reflect the truth of your divine nature rather than the false beliefs and negative conditioning that you may have accepted in the past. This is why consistency is so important in your morning practice. This is why you must make this grateful recognition a daily habit, a sacred ritual, an unbreakable commitment that you keep regardless of how you feel, regardless of what symptoms may be present, regardless of what circumstances may seem to suggest, for you are reprogramming your subconscious mind. You are establishing a new default setting. You are creating a new normal in your consciousness that will gradually but surely express itself as a new normal in your physical experience. Each morning when you thank God for your healing, you are making a deposit in the bank account of your subconscious mind. You are adding another brick to the foundation of your new health consciousness. You are taking another step on the pathway that leads from where you are to where you want to be. And though you may not see immediate results, though the changes may be gradual and subtle at first, you can trust that the law is working, the process is unfolding, the healing is taking place in the invisible realm before it becomes visible in the physical realm. A man told Dr. Joseph Murphy that he had been practicing morning gratitude for his healing for several months, and while he had noticed some improvements, he was becoming discouraged because the healing was not happening as quickly as he had hoped. But Dr. Comlin Murphy reminded him that healing is like the growth of a tree. You plant the seed and water it faithfully, but you do not expect to see fruit the next day. You trust the process, you continue the faithful care, you maintain the expectant watching. The fruit appears. The tree stands tall and strong and productive, bearing witness to the power of patient faith and consistent care. And so it is with the healing of your body. The process is already underway. The laws are already working. You need only continue in gratitude and watch for the signs of the multiplying healing that is surely coming to pass in your experience. Your healed life becomes a testimony to the reality of God's love, a demonstration of the effectiveness of spiritual practice, a proof of the unlimited possibilities that become available to human consciousness when it aligns itself with divine truth and grounds itself in grateful recognition of the healing presence that is always available, always active, always ready to restore and renew and transform any condition, any circumstance, any situation that appears to challenge the truth of perfect wholeness and abundant life. You become a living answer to the prayers of others who are seeking healing, a walking demonstration that recovery is possible, a breathing example that restoration can happen, that wholeness can be achieved, that the promises of God are true and reliable and available to anyone who approaches with sincere faith and genuine appreciation and heartfelt gratitude for the divine love that never fails and never gives up and never stops working for the highest good of every beloved child. Infinite intelligence that governs all life. The world needs your healed life. Humanity needs your grateful consciousness. Creation needs your appreciative recognition of divine goodness and healing power. For in a world filled with sickness and fear and despair and limitation, you become a beacon of hope, a source of inspiration, a living proof that God is real and active, and loving and powerful and ready to heal and bless and restore anyone who will open their heart to receive the infinite grace that is always available through the simple but profound practice of sincere and consistent gratitude for the healing that is always taking place, always being offered, always waiting to be recognized and received, and expressed as perfect health and wholeness and abundant life beyond anything human imagination could conceive or human effort could achieve or human understanding could fully comprehend. A man told Dr. Joseph Murphy that after years of practicing morning gratitude for his healing, after experiencing complete restoration of his health, after witnessing the transformation of his entire life through appreciative consciousness, he realized that his healing journey had been preparation for his true calling, which was to be a channel of healing for others, a demonstration of divine love in action, a living testimony to the unlimited power of grateful consciousness to transform any condition and heal any situation and restore any life to perfect wholeness and abundant blessing, and he understood that this was the purpose of all genuine spiritual practice. Not just personal benefit, but universal blessing. Not just individual healing, but the healing of all humanity, through the consciousness of those who have learned to live in constant recognition of the love that created them and the grace that sustains them, and the healing power that is always working to restore all creation to its original state of perfect wholeness and abundant life and eternal joy in the presence of the God who is love itself and who desires nothing more than the complete happiness and fulfillment and restoration of every one of His precious and beloved children throughout all eternity. There is a multiplication factor in grateful recognition that most people do not understand. A divine law of increase that operates when you thank God for blessings that you have not yet seen with your physical eyes. When you express appreciation for healing that has not yet manifested in your physical experience, when you rejoice in wholeness while symptoms still seem to suggest otherwise, for you see, gratitude is not passive acceptance but active creation. It is not simply acknowledging what is but calling forth what can be. It is not merely responding to good fortune but generating the very conditions that allow good fortune to flow into your life with ever-increasing abundance and ever-multiplying power. When you thank God each morning for your healing, you set in motion a spiritual law that works like compound interest. Each day's gratitude building upon the previous day's gratitude, each moment of recognition adding to the accumulated power of all the previous moments of recognition. Each expression of thanksgiving strengthening and amplifying all the previous expressions of thanksgiving until you have created a momentum of healing consciousness that becomes irresistible, absolutely certain to manifest itself as perfect health and vitality in your physical experience. This is why the practice is called watching your healing multiply, because true spiritual gratitude does not simply maintain the status quo, it does not merely preserve what already exists, it increases what it touches, it expands what it acknowledges until the blessing becomes greater than what you originally asked for, until the healing becomes more complete than what you originally envisioned, until the wholeness becomes more perfect than what you originally dared to imagine was possible for your life. Think of it this way. Your gratitude is like a magnet that attracts more of what you are grateful for, like a lens that focuses the healing light of divine love into your experience, like a channel that allows the infinite life of God to pour through you with ever-increasing force and power and effectiveness, transforming not only your physical body, but your entire life, your relationships, your circumstances, your future, everything that touches your experience in any way. A woman said to Dr. Joseph Murphy that she had begun the practice of morning gratitude simply hoping to feel a little better, to experience some relief from the condition that had been troubling her. But as she continued the practice day after day, week after week, month after month, she discovered that not only was her body being healed, but her entire life was being transformed, her relationships were improving, her financial situation was getting better, her emotional state was becoming more peaceful and joyful. Her spiritual understanding was deepening and expanding, and she realized that the healing she had asked for was just the beginning, the starting point of a multiplication of blessings that continued to unfold in ways she had never expected and could never have planned. And she understood at last why this practice was called watching your healing multiply. For the gratitude that heals the body also heals the heart and the mind and the soul and every aspect of human experience, creating a life of such abundance and joy and wholeness that it becomes a testimony to the infinite goodness and love and power of the God who desires nothing but the highest and best and most beautiful for every one of His beloved creations. Your morning gratitude creates what can only be described as a healing atmosphere around you, an invisible field of restorative energy that accompanies you throughout your day, influencing every person you meet, every situation you encounter, every experience you have. For when you begin your day by acknowledging the perfect health that God has ordained for you, you carry with you a consciousness of wholeness that radiates from you like light from a lamp, like fragrance from a flower, like music from a perfectly tuned instrument. And this consciousness of wholeness does not remain trapped within the boundaries of your physical body, but extends outward, touching and blessing and healing everything that comes within its influence. This is one of the most remarkable aspects of the practice of morning thanksgiving, that it not only heals your own body and mind, but creates a healing presence that blesses others, that your grateful recognition of divine health becomes a source of inspiration and hope and actual healing power for those around you, that your morning acknowledgement of God's goodness becomes a channel through which that goodness can flow to heal and bless and restore not only yourself, but everyone whose life touches yours in any way. When you walk in grateful consciousness of your healing, when you move through your day with the deep inner knowing that God is at work within you, restoring every cell, renewing every organ, perfecting every system, you become like a walking prayer, like a living testament to the reality of divine healing. like a demonstration of what becomes possible when a human being aligns their consciousness with the infinite love and wisdom and power that created them and sustains them, and desires nothing but their complete and perfect restoration to health and wholeness and abundant life. A man told Dr. Joseph Murphy that he had been practicing morning gratitude for several months, and he began to notice that not only was his own health improving dramatically, but people around him seemed to be experiencing healing as well. His family members were getting better from conditions that had troubled them. His coworkers seemed more cheerful and energetic. Even strangers he encountered seemed to respond to him with unusual warmth and kindness. And he realized that his grateful consciousness had become like a healing center, a place where the love of God could work through him to bless and restore others. And he understood that this was not magic or coincidence, but the natural result of aligning his consciousness with the healing presence that flows through everyone who truly understands and practices the law of grateful recognition. The law that states that whatever you acknowledge with deep appreciation and sincere thanksgiving must multiply and increase and overflow from your life to touch and transform the lives of all those around you. The timing of your morning gratitude is not accidental. It is not merely convenient or traditional or a pleasant way to start your day. It is scientifically precise, spiritually exact, perfectly designed to work with the natural rhythms of your subconscious mind and the universal laws that govern health and healing and the manifestation of divine good in human experience. In the first moments after waking, your conscious mind has not yet fully engaged. Your analytical faculties have not yet begun their ceaseless activity. Your rational defenses have not yet erected the barriers of doubt and skepticism and limiting beliefs that might otherwise interfere with the pure reception of spiritual truth. And it is in this receptive state, this open condition, this moment of perfect impressionability, that your grateful acknowledgement of healing can penetrate directly to the deepest levels of your being, where the real work of restoration takes place. Your subconscious mind is like fertile soil that is most ready to receive seeds in the early morning, most willing to nourish whatever is planted in it during those precious moments when the interference of conscious thinking is at its minimum, when the resistance of acquired beliefs is at its weakest, when the natural wisdom of your body and soul can respond without obstruction to the truth of your divine wholeness and perfect health that you acknowledge through your morning thanksgiving. This is why you must not delay your practice of gratitude, why you must not wait until after breakfast, or after reading the news, or after checking your schedule, why you must make thanksgiving the very first activity of your waking consciousness. For with each moment that passes after waking, the conscious mind becomes more active, the analytical processes become more engaged. The habits of worry and fear and negative thinking reassert themselves, and the window of perfect receptivity begins to close. A woman said to Dr. Joseph Murphy that she had been trying to practice healing affirmations for years, but they never seemed to work very well. They felt forced and artificial, and she often found her mind arguing with them even as she spoke them. But when she began the practice of morning gratitude, speaking her thanksgiving for healing in those first moments after opening her eyes, before her mind had a chance to engage in its usual patterns of analysis and doubt, she found that the words felt natural and true and powerful. They seemed to sink deep into her consciousness without resistance, and within a few weeks she began to experience the healing changes that had eluded her for so long, and she realized that the timing of spiritual practice is just as important as the content of spiritual practice. That there are moments when the soul is especially open to receive divine truth, and moments when it is closed, and the wise person learns to recognize these moments and to use them for the highest and best purposes of spiritual growth and healing and transformation. Your body is constantly listening to the messages you send it, through your thoughts, your words, your feelings, your expectations, and every morning when you wake up, you have the opportunity to send your body the most powerful healing message possible. The message that it is perfectly healthy, wonderfully whole, divinely designed for strength and vitality and perfect function, and when you send this message through sincere and heartfelt gratitude to God, when you acknowledge with deep appreciation the healing work that is already taking place within you, your body responds with enthusiasm and cooperation. Every cell aligns itself with this message of health. Every organ adjusts its function to match this expectation of wholeness. Every system reorganizes itself according to this blueprint of perfect vitality that you have impressed upon it through your grateful recognition. This is not wishful thinking or positive mental attitude or psychological self-manipulation. This is the application of a fundamental law of life that operates as surely and as predictably as the law of gravity or the law of electricity. The law that states that your body must respond to the dominant mental and emotional patterns that you consistently impress upon it, that your physical experience must eventually conform to the mental and spiritual patterns that you habitually maintain, that your health must improve when you consistently and gratefully acknowledge the perfect health that is your divine birthright and your natural inheritance as a beloved creation of the infinite intelligence that governs all life. The key to making this law work in your favor is consistency, persistence, faithful daily practice, regardless of current symptoms or conditions or temporary appearances that may seem to contradict the health you are acknowledging. For you must remember that you are not denying the existence of symptoms. You are not pretending that problems do not exist. You are not engaging in fantasy or delusion. You are simply choosing to focus on the deeper truth of your being, the spiritual reality of your wholeness, the divine fact of your perfect health that exists eternally in the mind of God and is already beginning to express itself in your physical experience through your grateful recognition and acknowledgement. A man told Dr. Joseph Murphy that when he first began the practice of morning gratitude for his healing, he felt foolish thanking God for health that he did not seem to possess, expressing appreciation for wholeness that his body did not seem to demonstrate, rejoicing in vitality that he did not seem to experience, but he had decided to trust the process and continue the practice regardless of his feelings or his doubts or the evidence of his senses. And as the weeks passed, he began to notice subtle changes, small improvements, little signs that something was shifting within him, and these changes grew stronger and more obvious with each passing day, until he could no longer deny that his body was responding to his grateful acknowledgments, that his health was actually improving as a direct result of his morning practice of thanksgiving. And he understood that what had seemed foolish to his rational mind was actually the wisest thing he had ever done, for he had learned to cooperate with the healing intelligence within him rather than working against it, and the results spoke for themselves in the form of renewed health and vitality and strength. The multiplication of healing that occurs through morning gratitude operates according to spiritual laws that transcend the normal limitations of time and space and physical causation. Laws that work in the realm of consciousness, where all healing begins, where all transformation takes place before it becomes visible in the material world. And when you understand these laws and learn to work with them rather than against them, you discover that healing can happen much more quickly and much more completely than you ever thought possible. That the body has capacities for self-restoration that far exceed what medical science has yet discovered, that there are healing forces operating within you right now that are capable of correcting any condition, resolving any problem, restoring any function to its original state of perfect health and wholeness. The secret lies in recognizing that healing is not a process of fighting disease, but a process of aligning yourself with the perfect health that already exists as a spiritual reality. Not a matter of overcoming sickness, but a matter of allowing wellness to express itself naturally and freely through your physical being. Not a struggle against what is wrong, but an acceptance of what is right, what is true, what is eternally established in the mind of God as your divine inheritance and your natural condition. When you thank God each morning for your healing, you are not asking Him to create something new. You are acknowledging something that already exists. You are recognizing something that has already been established. You are accepting something that has already been provided for you in the infinite wisdom and love and generosity of the divine mind that created you and knows exactly what you need for complete health and happiness and fulfillment. This recognition, this acceptance of what God has already provided, is what opens the channel through which healing can flow from the spiritual realm into the physical realm, from the invisible into the visible, from the eternal into the temporal, and the more grateful your recognition, the more sincere your acknowledgement, the more complete your acceptance, the wider this channel becomes, the faster the healing flows, the more dramatically and miraculously the restoration manifests in your physical experience. A woman said to Dr. Joseph Murphy that she had been told by her doctors that her condition was incurable, that she would have to learn to live with it, that medical science had no treatment that could help her. But she refused to accept this verdict, not out of denial or stubbornness, but out of a deep inner knowing that God had not created her to be sick, that perfect health was her divine birthright, that healing was possible regardless of what human opinion might suggest. And she began the practice of morning gratitude with absolute conviction. thanking God every day for the perfect health that she knew belonged to her, and within 6 months her condition had completely disappeared. Her doctors could find no trace of the illness that they had declared incurable, and she stood as living proof that there is no condition too serious, no problem too chronic, no situation too hopeless for the healing power of God to transform when it is acknowledged and received through grateful faith and consistent spiritual practice. Your morning gratitude for healing establishes what spiritual teachers have called a covenant with the divine, a sacred agreement between your soul and the infinite source of all health and wholeness and life, an unbreakable bond that guarantees the manifestation of perfect restoration in your physical experience, because it is based not on human effort or human understanding, but on divine law and divine love and divine promise that cannot fail and will not be denied to anyone who approaches. With sincere faith and genuine appreciation for the goodness and mercy and healing power of God. This covenant is not something that you negotiate or earn or deserve through your own merit. It is something that God offers freely to every one of His children, something that is available to you right now, regardless of your past mistakes or current conditions or present circumstances, something that requires only your acceptance, your recognition, your grateful acknowledgement of the truth that you are beloved by the infinite intelligence that created the universe, and that this same intelligence desires nothing more than your complete happiness and health and wholeness and abundant life. When you enter into this covenant through your morning practice of grateful recognition, when you acknowledge each day the perfect health that God has ordained for you, when you thank Him in advance for the healing that you know is already taking place within you, you step into a realm of possibility that operates beyond the normal laws of physical causation, beyond the usual limitations of medical prognosis, beyond the ordinary expectations of human experience. And you discover that you are connected to a source of healing power that is greater than any disease, stronger than any condition, more persistent than any symptom, more reliable than any treatment, more effective than any medicine that has ever been devised by human ingenuity. This divine source of healing works through your gratitude, because gratitude is the natural language of faith, the authentic expression of trust, the genuine demonstration of your willingness to receive what God desires to give you. And when your gratitude is sincere and consistent and expectant, it creates the perfect conditions for divine healing to manifest in your life, with a power and completeness that will amaze you, that will make you a living witness to the reality of God's love and the unlimited nature of His healing grace. A man told Dr. Joseph Murphy that he had practiced many different forms of prayer and meditation and spiritual discipline throughout his life, but nothing had produced the dramatic healing results that he experienced through the simple practice of morning gratitude, and he realized that all his previous efforts had been based on trying to earn or deserve or qualify for God's healing, while gratitude was based on simply receiving what God had already provided, accepting what God had already given, acknowledging what God had already established as His divine inheritance, and this shift from earning to receiving, from working to accepting, had opened the floodgates of healing in his life and transformed him from a seeker of health into a possessor of wholeness, from someone who hoped for healing into someone who lived in the reality of perfect restoration, and he understood that this was the true secret of spiritual healing, not to convince God to heal, but to recognize that God has already healed, not to persuade the divine to restore, but to accept that the divine has already provided everything necessary for complete and perfect health and wholeness and abundant life. The practice of morning gratitude for your healing works because it aligns your consciousness with the fundamental nature of reality itself, with the basic structure of the universe, with the underlying truth that life always seeks to express itself as health, as wholeness, as perfect function, as abundant vitality, for you see, sickness is not the natural state of your being. Disease is not your normal condition. Limitation is not your divine inheritance. These are temporary distortions, passing shadows, false appearances that have no permanent reality and no lasting power over you when you understand your true relationship to the infinite life that flows through you and sustains you, and desires to express itself as perfect health in every cell and every organ and every system of your physical being. God did not create sickness. The divine intelligence that designed your body did not include disease in the blueprint. The infinite wisdom that governs all life did not intend for you to experience limitation or suffering or any form of physical distress. For the nature of divine creation is perfection. The character of infinite intelligence is wholeness. The intention of limitless love is complete and total well-being for every aspect of your existence. And when you recognize this truth through your morning gratitude, when you acknowledge this reality through your daily thanksgiving, when you accept this divine intention through your grateful recognition, you step into harmony with the deepest laws of life and allow them to work through you with their full power and effectiveness. This is why gratitude is so much more powerful than worry, why thanksgiving is so much more effective than fear, why appreciation produces results that anxiety never could. For worry and fear and anxiety are based on the false belief that something is wrong with the fundamental nature of life, that God has somehow failed in His creation, that the universe is working against you rather than for you. While gratitude is based on the recognition that everything is working perfectly according to divine law, that your healing is as natural as the sunrise, as certain as the seasons, as inevitable as the growth of a plant toward the light. When you begin each morning by aligning yourself with this truth, when you start each day by recognizing the perfection that underlies all appearances, when you open each new day with thanksgiving for the healing that is your divine right and natural inheritance, you set in motion forces that are irresistible, unstoppable, absolutely guaranteed to manifest as improved health and increased vitality and growing wholeness in your physical experience. A woman said to Dr. Joseph Murphy that she had spent years trying to figure out why she was sick, what she had done wrong to deserve her condition, how she could make herself worthy of healing. But when she began the practice of morning gratitude, she stopped asking why and started saying thank you. She stopped trying to earn healing and started receiving it as a gift. She stopped believing that something was wrong with her and started recognizing that everything was right with God. And this fundamental shift in her understanding, this basic change in her approach to healing, produced results in her body that years of medical treatment and psychological analysis have been unable to achieve. And she realized that the problem had never been with her body or her circumstances, but with her understanding of her relationship to the divine source of all health and wholeness and life. Your subconscious mind responds to the emotional quality of your thoughts much more powerfully than it responds to the intellectual content of your words, and this is why gratitude is such an extraordinarily effective tool for healing. Because genuine gratitude carries with it the highest and purest emotional vibration possible. A frequency of love and appreciation and joy that resonates perfectly with the healing forces of your body and activates them with tremendous power and precision. When you feel genuinely grateful for your healing, when you experience sincere appreciation for the wholeness that belongs to you, when you overflow with heartfelt thanksgiving for the perfect health that is your divine birthright, you create an emotional atmosphere within your consciousness that is perfectly aligned with the natural tendency of life to express itself as health, as vitality, as perfect function, as complete restoration, and in this atmosphere of grateful appreciation, healing happens naturally, effortlessly, inevitably, because you have removed all the emotional barriers that might otherwise interfere with the perfect operation of your body's own healing intelligence. Most people approach healing with emotions of fear and anxiety and desperation. They think about their conditions with worry and dread and negative expectation. They focus on their symptoms with frustration and anger and helplessness, and these negative emotions create a mental environment that is hostile to healing, that interferes with the natural restorative processes of the body, that blocks the flow of healing energy, and prevents the manifestation of the wholeness that God desires to express through them. But when you approach healing through gratitude, when you think about your restoration with appreciation and joy and positive expectation, when you focus on your wholeness with love and faith and confident trust, you create an emotional environment that is perfectly conducive to healing, that supports and accelerates all the natural restorative processes of your body, that opens wide the channels through which divine healing energy can flow with maximum effectiveness and power. This is why your morning gratitude must be more than just words, more than just mental concepts, more than just intellectual affirmations. It must be a genuine emotional experience, a heartfelt expression of appreciation, a sincere outpouring of love and thanksgiving that engages not only your mind, but your heart, not only your thoughts, but your feelings, not only your beliefs, but your entire being in the recognition and reception of the healing that is always available to you through the infinite love and wisdom and power of God. A man told Dr. Joseph Murphy that he had been saying healing affirmations for months, But when he began to focus on feeling grateful rather than just thinking positive thoughts, when he began to experience genuine appreciation for his healing rather than just repeating healing words, when he began to open his heart in thanksgiving rather than just engaging his mind in affirmation, his body began to respond with healing changes that were rapid and dramatic and unmistakable, and he understood that the emotions are the power behind the words. The feelings are the force that gives life to the thoughts. The heart is the engine that drives the entire process of spiritual healing and makes it effective in the realm of physical experience. The consistency of your morning gratitude practice creates a rhythm of healing in your life, a steady beat of restoration, a reliable pattern of renewal that your body learns to expect and anticipate and prepare for, much like a musician learns to play in time with the rhythm of a song, much like a dancer learns to move in harmony with the beat of the music, much like your heart learns to beat in sync with the natural rhythms of your nervous system. And when you establish this rhythm of grateful recognition in your consciousness, when you make thanksgiving for your healing a daily discipline, a sacred routine, an unbreakable habit that you practice regardless of circumstances or symptoms or temporary appearances, your entire being begins to attune itself to this rhythm of restoration and wholeness and perfect health. Your subconscious mind loves routine, thrives on repetition, responds most powerfully to patterns that are consistent and reliable and predictable. And when you give it the gift of daily gratitude for your healing, when you present it with a regular rhythm of morning thanksgiving, when you establish the steady beat of grateful recognition as a permanent feature of your consciousness, it begins to organize all its healing activities around this rhythm. It begins to synchronize all its restorative processes with this pattern. It begins to coordinate all its regenerative functions according to this reliable schedule of appreciation and acknowledgement that you have impressed upon it through your faithful practice. This is why people who practice morning gratitude consistently experience more dramatic healing results than those who practice it occasionally, why daily thanksgiving produces more powerful outcomes than sporadic appreciation, why regular rhythm creates more lasting transformation than irregular effort, for the healing forces of your body respond most effectively to consistent signals, reliable messages, predictable patterns that they can count on and build upon and organize themselves around in their work of restoration and renewal and perfect regeneration. Think of your morning gratitude as tuning your body to the frequency of health, adjusting your consciousness to the wavelength of wholeness, setting your entire being to vibrate in harmony with the perfect rhythm of divine life that flows through every healthy cell, every normal organ, every properly functioning system of your physical being. And when you maintain this tuning day after day, week after week, month after month, your body becomes like a perfectly tuned instrument that naturally and effortlessly produces the beautiful music of health and vitality and abundant life. A woman told Dr. Joseph Murphy that she had tried many different healing methods over the years, but she had never been consistent with any of them. She would practice for a few days or a few weeks and then stop. She would start with great enthusiasm and then lose interest. She would begin with high hopes and then get discouraged when results did not come immediately. But when she committed to practicing morning gratitude for her healing every single day for an entire year, regardless of how she felt or what symptoms were present or whether she could see any improvements, she discovered that consistency itself was a healing force. That the simple act of showing up every morning with thanksgiving created a momentum of restoration that grew stronger with each passing day, until her healing became not just a hope, but an inevitable reality. And she realized that the secret was not in finding the perfect technique, but in practicing any good technique with perfect consistency, not in discovering the most powerful method, but in applying any effective method with unwavering commitment and persistent faith. Your morning thanksgiving creates what can best be described as a healing vortex around your life, an invisible field of restorative energy that draws to you everything you need for complete health and wholeness, that attracts into your experience the right people, the right opportunities, the right circumstances that will support and accelerate your healing in ways that you could never plan or arrange or orchestrate through your own human effort and understanding. When you begin each day with grateful recognition of the perfect health that belongs to you, when you start each morning with sincere appreciation for the healing that is already taking place within you, When you open each new day with heartfelt thanksgiving for the wholeness that is your divine birthright, you set in motion spiritual laws that work behind the scenes to coordinate all the elements of your life in support of your restoration, to align all the forces of the universe in favor of your healing, to orchestrate all the circumstances of your experience in such a way that everything works together for your highest good and your complete recovery and your total restoration to perfect health and vitality. This divine coordination happens automatically when your consciousness is established in gratitude, when your mental atmosphere is dominated by appreciation, when your emotional state is characterized by thanksgiving. For you see, like attracts like in the realm of consciousness. Health consciousness attracts health experiences. Wholeness awareness draws wholeness manifestations. Healing gratitude magnetizes healing circumstances. And when you maintain this grateful consciousness consistently through your morning practice, you become a magnet for everything that promotes health, everything that supports healing, everything that encourages wholeness in your life. You begin to encounter exactly the right doctors at exactly the right time. You discover precisely the right information just when you need it. You meet the perfect people who can help you in your healing journey. You stumble upon the ideal resources that support your restoration. You find yourself in the right place at the right time to receive exactly what you need for your complete recovery, not through coincidence or luck or chance, but through the operation of spiritual laws that respond to your grateful consciousness and arrange your experiences accordingly. A man said to Dr. Joseph Murphy that after he began practicing morning gratitude for his healing, the most amazing things started happening in his life. He would think about needing a certain type of help, and someone would appear who could provide exactly that help. He would wonder about a particular treatment, and information about that treatment would show up in unexpected ways. He would need encouragement, and he would meet someone who had experienced exactly the same condition and had been completely healed. He would require guidance, and the perfect book or article or conversation would present itself at precisely the right moment, and he realized that his gratitude had made him a magnet for healing, that his thanksgiving had aligned him with a divine intelligence that knew exactly what he needed and when he needed it, and how to arrange for him to receive it in the most perfect and timely way. And he understood that this was not magic or coincidence, but the natural result of establishing his consciousness in harmony with the healing love and wisdom and power that governs the universe, and desires nothing but the highest and best for every one of its beloved children. The power of morning gratitude to multiply healing in your life operates according to what spiritual teachers have called the law of increase, the divine principle that states that whatever you appreciate grows, whatever you acknowledge expands, whatever you bless with genuine thanksgiving multiplies and overflows and produces abundant fruit in your experience, not just in the specific area where you focus your gratitude, but in every area of your life that is touched by the consciousness of appreciation and recognition and grateful acknowledgement of divine goodness and love and provision. When you thank God each morning for your healing, when you express sincere appreciation for the wholeness that belongs to you, when you acknowledge with heartfelt gratitude the perfect health that is your divine inheritance, you set in motion a principle of increase that extends far beyond your physical body, far beyond your immediate health concerns, far beyond the specific conditions or symptoms that may have prompted you to begin this practice. For gratitude is like a river that overflows its banks, like a fire that spreads beyond its original boundaries, like a light that illuminates not just the area where it is focused, but everything that comes within its radiance. Your grateful acknowledgement of healing begins a process of multiplication that touches every aspect of your existence, improving not only your physical health, but your mental clarity, your emotional stability, your spiritual understanding, your relationships with others, your financial circumstances, your professional opportunities, your creative abilities, your capacity for joy and peace and fulfillment, your connection with the divine source of all good. For you see, when you align your consciousness with the principle of grateful recognition, when you establish your mental atmosphere in appreciation and thanksgiving, when you make gratitude the dominant note of your daily experience, you create conditions that allow divine love to express itself through every channel of your life with increasing power and beauty and abundance. This is why people who practice consistent gratitude for healing often report that while their physical conditions improve dramatically, their entire lives are transformed in ways that go far beyond what they originally expected or asked for. They find that relationships are healed, financial problems are resolved, career obstacles are removed, family situations are harmonized, creative projects flourish, spiritual understanding deepens, and life becomes more joyful and peaceful and fulfilling than they ever thought possible. And they realize that they have tapped into a fundamental law of the universe, a basic principle of existence that states that consciousness focused in gratitude becomes a channel for the unlimited goodness and love and power of God to flow into human experience with multiplication and increase and overflowing abundance. A woman told Dr. Joseph Murphy that she had begun morning gratitude simply hoping to recover from a health condition that had been troubling her for several years, but as she continued the practice month after month, she discovered that not only was her body being restored to perfect health, but her marriage was being healed. Her relationship with her grown children was improving. Her financial situation was stabilizing. Her career was advancing. And she was experiencing levels of happiness and peace and contentment that she had never known before, and she understood that her morning gratitude had opened a floodgate of divine blessing that poured healing and restoration into every area of her life, demonstrating that when we align ourselves with the laws of gratitude and appreciation and thanksgiving, we receive not just what we ask for, but immeasurably more than we could ever imagine or hope or dream. For the love of God knows no limits, and His desire to bless His children is infinite and eternal and beyond all human understanding. Every morning when you wake and express gratitude for your healing, you are participating in a divine conversation that began before time itself, joining your voice to the eternal song of appreciation that flows between God and His creation, adding your thanksgiving to the cosmic chorus of recognition that acknowledges the infinite goodness and love and healing power that permeates every atom of the universe, every moment of time, every possibility of experience, and in this sacred conversation, in this holy dialogue, in this blessed communion between your grateful heart and the loving heart of the divine, miracles become natural, healing becomes inevitable, wholeness becomes your lived reality rather than your distant hope. Your gratitude is not one-sided. It is not a monologue directed toward an absent deity. It is not a plea sent into the void hoping for some response. It is a living dialogue, an active communication, a dynamic relationship in which your thanksgiving is met by divine love. Your appreciation is answered by divine provision. Your recognition is responded to by divine manifestation of the very health and wholeness and vitality that you have acknowledged with such grateful faith and sincere appreciation. God is not distant from your healing. The divine intelligence is not separate from your restoration. The infinite love that created you is not uninvolved in your recovery, but rather the very act of grateful acknowledgement opens a direct channel of communication between your consciousness and the consciousness of God, creating a partnership, an alliance, a collaboration in which your faith provides the recognition, your gratitude provides the receptivity, and divine love provides the supply. Your thanksgiving provides the acceptance, and infinite wisdom provides the manifestation of perfect health and abundant life. This is why morning gratitude feels so natural when you practice it sincerely, why thanksgiving for healing brings such peace when you offer it genuinely, why appreciation for wholeness creates such joy when you express it from your heart, for you are not struggling alone against impossible odds. You are not fighting a solitary battle against overwhelming forces. You are not trying to create something from nothing through your own limited human power. But you are cooperating with the infinite intelligence that designed your body for health, working in partnership with the divine love that intends only good for you, joining your efforts with the cosmic forces that are always working toward healing and restoration, and the manifestation of perfect life in every form and every expression and every experience. A man said to Dr. Joseph Murphy that when he first began morning gratitude for his healing, he felt like he was talking to himself, like he was going through empty motions, like he was reciting meaningless words into empty space. But as he continued the practice faithfully, day after day, week after week, he began to sense something responding to his thanksgiving, something receiving his appreciation, something answering his grateful recognition with warmth and love and healing power. And gradually he realized that he was not alone in his healing journey, that there was a divine partner working with him, a loving presence supporting him, an infinite intelligence guiding his restoration, and this awareness transformed his entire approach to healing from a desperate struggle into a peaceful cooperation, from anxious effort into grateful reception. From fearful fighting into loving collaboration with the God who had created him for health and happiness and wanted nothing more than his complete and perfect restoration to wholeness and abundant life. The transformation that occurs through consistent morning gratitude for your healing extends beyond the physical realm into dimensions of your existence that you may never have considered, touching and renewing and perfecting not only your body but your mind, your emotions, your relationships, your life circumstances, your spiritual understanding, your connection with others, your sense of purpose, your capacity for joy, your ability to love and be loved, your creative expression, your professional effectiveness, your overall quality of life, for true healing is never partial. Genuine restoration is never limited to one area. Authentic wholeness always includes every aspect of your being, because you are a complete person, an integrated whole. A unified expression of divine life that cannot be divided into separate compartments that heal independently of each other. When you begin each day with grateful acknowledgement of the perfect health that God has ordained for you, when you start each morning with sincere appreciation for the healing that is taking place within you on every level of your being, when you open each new day with heartfelt thanksgiving for the wholeness that encompasses not just your physical body, but your entire existence as a beloved child of the infinite intelligence that created the universe, you activate forces of restoration that work simultaneously in every dimension of your life, bringing harmony where there was discord, peace where there was conflict, order where there was chaos, abundance where there was lack, love where there was fear, hope where there was despair, faith where there was doubt. This comprehensive healing happens because your consciousness is the central organizing principle of your entire life experience, the control center from which all other experiences flow, the master switch that determines the quality and character of everything that manifests in your personal reality. And when you establish this consciousness in gratitude, when you anchor this awareness in appreciation, when you ground this mental atmosphere in thanksgiving for divine healing and wholeness and abundant life, every other aspect of your existence automatically aligns itself with this dominant pattern. Every other area of your life naturally conforms to this prevailing consciousness. Every other dimension of your experience inevitably reflects this fundamental orientation toward health and happiness and harmony with the divine will and divine love that desires only the highest and best for you. Think of your consciousness as the sun in the solar system of your life, and just as all the planets orbit around the sun and receive their light and warmth and life-giving energy from the sun, so all the various aspects of your existence orbit around your consciousness and receive their quality and character and life-giving power from the dominant patterns and beliefs and attitudes that you maintain in your mind and heart and soul. When you make gratitude for healing the central sun of your consciousness, when you establish appreciation for divine wholeness as the ruling principle of your mental and emotional life, all the other areas of your existence naturally align themselves with this healing consciousness and begin to manifest the same patterns of restoration and renewal and abundant life that you have established through your faithful morning practice of thanksgiving. A woman told Dr. Joseph Murphy that when she began practicing morning gratitude for her healing, she expected only to see improvements in her physical condition. But as the weeks and months passed, she was amazed to discover that her marriage was healing. Her children were responding to her with more love and respect. Her work was becoming more fulfilling and profitable. Her friendships were deepening and becoming more meaningful. Her creativity was flourishing. Her spiritual life was expanding. And she was experiencing levels of happiness and peace that she had never known were possible. And she realized that her gratitude had not just healed her body, but had transformed her entire life into a living demonstration of what becomes possible when a human being aligns their consciousness with the infinite love and wisdom and healing power that flows through all creation, desires to express itself as perfect life in every form and every experience. Your morning gratitude for healing creates ripples of positive influence that extend far beyond your immediate circumstances, touching the lives of everyone who comes in contact with you, blessing your family members, your friends, your co-workers, your neighbors, even strangers you meet in passing. For when you carry within your consciousness a deep and abiding appreciation for the healing work that God is doing in your life, when you move through your day with a heart filled with thanksgiving for the wholeness that is your divine birthright, when you radiate the peaceful confidence that comes from knowing that you are loved and cared for and continuously healed by the infinite intelligence that governs the universe, you become a healing presence wherever you go, a source of inspiration and hope and actual healing power for others who may be struggling with their own health challenges or life difficulties or spiritual questions. This is one of the most beautiful aspects of genuine spiritual practice, that it never remains confined to the individual who practices it, but naturally overflows to bless others. That personal healing becomes a gift to the community. That individual wholeness becomes a contribution to the collective well-being of all humanity, for we are all connected in the invisible web of consciousness that unites every living being. We are all part of the same divine family. We are all expressions of the same infinite love that seeks to heal and bless and restore every one of its children to perfect health and happiness and abundant life. When you practice morning gratitude consistently and sincerely, when you maintain a consciousness of appreciation for divine healing and wholeness, when you embody the peaceful joy that comes from trusting in God's love and care for you, you become like a lighthouse whose beacon of hope and faith and healing consciousness shines into the darkness of other people's fear and doubt and despair, showing them that healing is possible, that wholeness is available, that the love of God is real and active and ready to transform any condition, resolve any problem, restore any situation to harmony and health and abundant blessing. Your grateful consciousness becomes a magnet that attracts others who need healing, a center of healing energy that naturally draws people who are seeking restoration, a demonstration of divine love in action that proves to others that God's healing power is not just a theoretical possibility, but a practical reality that can be experienced by anyone who approaches with sincere faith and genuine appreciation for the goodness and mercy and unlimited healing power of the divine presence within. You do not need to preach or teach or try to convince anyone of anything. You do not need to explain or justify or defend your practice of morning gratitude. You simply need to live it, to embody it, to let the results speak for themselves. As your health improves, your peace increases, your joy multiplies, your love grows, your life becomes more beautiful and abundant and fulfilling with each passing day. A man told Dr. Joseph Murphy that after several months of practicing morning gratitude for his healing, people began asking him what he was doing differently, what had changed in his life, why he seemed so much more peaceful and confident and healthy. And he realized that his grateful consciousness had become visible to others, that his appreciation for divine healing had transformed not just his inner experience, but his outer expression, that his thanksgiving for wholeness had changed not just his health, but his entire presence in such a way that others could see and feel and sense the healing power that was working through him. And many of these people began their own practice of morning gratitude after witnessing the dramatic positive changes in his life, and they too experienced healing and restoration and transformation, creating an ever-widening circle of blessing that demonstrated the multiplication factor inherent in all genuine spiritual practice. The law that states that what blesses one ultimately blesses all, that individual healing becomes collective healing, that personal gratitude becomes universal thanksgiving, that one person's recognition of divine love opens the way for many others to experience that same love in their own lives in their own way, according to their own needs and circumstances, and divine calling. The biochemical changes that occur in your body when you practice morning gratitude for your healing are profound and measurable and scientifically demonstrable. For gratitude triggers the release of healing hormones, activates your immune system, enhances your digestion, strengthens your nervous system, balances your brain chemistry, optimizes your cellular function, and sets in motion cascades of physiological improvements that support and accelerate the natural healing processes that are constantly at work within your physical being. When you feel genuinely grateful, when you experience sincere appreciation, when you overflow with heartfelt thanksgiving, your body responds by producing what can only be called healing chemicals, natural substances that are more powerful than any medicine, more effective than any treatment, more beneficial than any therapy that has ever been developed by medical science. And these healing chemicals flood your system, saturate your cells, bathe your organs, nourish your tissues, and create the optimal biochemical environment for restoration and renewal and perfect regeneration of any damaged or diseased or dysfunctional aspect of your physical being. This is not mysticism or metaphysics or wishful thinking. This is measurable biological reality, documented scientific fact, proven physiological truth that demonstrates the intimate connection between your emotional state and your physical health, between your mental attitude and your bodily function, between your spiritual consciousness and your biochemical balance. And when you understand this connection, when you learn to work with this relationship rather than against it, when you discover how to use your thoughts and feelings and spiritual practices to optimize your body chemistry for healing, you gain access to healing resources that are more powerful and more reliable than any external treatment or intervention or therapy. Your morning gratitude literally changes your blood chemistry, alters your hormone levels, modifies your brain waves, improves your heart rate variability, enhances your immune function, increases your oxygen utilization, optimizes your metabolic processes, and creates what researchers have called a healing state, a physiological condition that is maximally conducive to restoration and recovery, and the manifestation of perfect health and vitality in your physical experience. This is why people who practice regular gratitude consistently report improved health outcomes, faster recovery times, stronger immunity, better energy levels, deeper sleep, improved mood, enhanced mental clarity, and overall better quality of life. For they have learned to activate their body's own healing pharmacy, to stimulate their internal healing mechanisms, to optimize their biochemical environment through the simple but powerful practice of sincere appreciation and genuine thanksgiving for the healing that God is accomplishing within them every moment of every day. The beauty of this approach to healing is that it requires no external substances, no expensive equipment, no complex procedures, no medical supervision, no side effects, no contraindications, no limitations based on age or condition or circumstances. For gratitude is the most natural medicine, appreciation is the most powerful treatment, thanksgiving is the most effective therapy, and these healing resources are available to you right now, this very moment. Regardless of where you are or what your situation may be or what challenges you may be facing in your health or your life or your circumstances. A woman told Dr. Joseph Murphy that her doctor had told her that her blood tests showed remarkable improvements after she began practicing morning gratitude for her healing, that her inflammatory markers had decreased significantly, that her stress hormone levels had normalized completely, that her overall biochemical profile had shifted from a disease pattern to a health pattern in ways that medical science could measure but not fully explain. And her doctor admitted that in 30 years of practice, he had never seen such dramatic positive changes in blood chemistry in such a short period of time. And the woman knew that her gratitude had literally transformed her body from the inside out, had changed her biochemistry from sickness to health, had activated her internal healing mechanisms through the power of sincere appreciation for the divine love and wisdom and healing power that was working within her to restore her to perfect health and wholeness and abundant life. Your faithful practice of morning gratitude for healing establishes you as a conscious co-creator with the divine intelligence in the ongoing work of restoration and renewal that is always taking place throughout the universe. For God is continuously healing, constantly renewing, perpetually restoring all of creation to its original state of perfection and wholeness and abundant life. And when you align your consciousness with this divine healing work through grateful recognition and sincere appreciation and heartfelt thanksgiving, you become an active participant in this cosmic process, a conscious collaborator in this universal project, a willing partner in this infinite enterprise of love and restoration and perfect manifestation of divine good in every form and every expression. This partnership with the divine is not a one-time event, but an ongoing relationship that deepens and strengthens and becomes more effective with each passing day. That you maintain your practice of morning gratitude, for consciousness grows through exercise, spiritual muscles develop through use, faith increases through application, and the more consistently you practice grateful recognition of divine healing, the more powerfully you can receive and channel and express the healing love and wisdom and power that flows through all creation, seeking opportunities to manifest as perfect health and wholeness in human experience. You are not a passive recipient of divine healing, but an active participant in its manifestation. Not a helpless victim waiting for rescue, but a powerful co-creator working in partnership with infinite intelligence to bring forth the highest and best in your life and health and circumstances. Not a beggar pleading for divine mercy, but a beloved child, claiming your rightful inheritance of perfect health and abundant life, and unlimited blessing from the God who loves you more than you could ever imagine, and desires nothing more than your complete happiness and fulfillment. Restoration to the wholeness that has always been your true nature and your divine destiny. This understanding transforms your entire approach to healing from passive hoping to active creating, from fearful waiting to confident expecting, from desperate pleading to grateful receiving, from isolated effort to divine partnership, and in this transformation you discover powers and possibilities and potentials that you never knew you possessed. You access resources and abilities and creative forces that are beyond anything that human effort alone could ever accomplish. You become a demonstration of what is possible when a human being learns to work in conscious partnership with the God who created them and loves them and desires to express perfect life through them in ever-increasing measure and ever-expanding abundance. Think of yourself as a violin in the hands of a master musician. Your morning gratitude is the tuning process that aligns your consciousness with the perfect pitch of divine harmony, and when you are properly tuned through consistent grateful recognition of healing, the master musician can play through you melodies of health and wholeness and abundant life that are so beautiful, so perfect, so healing to everyone who hears them, that they become living proof of the reality of divine love and the unlimited nature of God's power to transform any condition, heal any problem that may appear to challenge the truth of your perfect wholeness and abundant blessing. A man said to Dr. Joseph Murphy that through his practice of morning gratitude for healing, he had discovered that he was not just a patient hoping to be healed, but a healer himself, that his grateful consciousness had become a channel through which divine healing energy could flow to bless others, that his appreciation for wholeness had made him a source of inspiration and hope and actual healing power for everyone whose life touched his in any way. And he realized that this was the true purpose of spiritual practice, not just personal benefit, but universal blessing, not just individual healing, but collective transformation, not just private restoration, but the manifestation of divine love and wisdom and power in human experience for the healing of all humanity and the establishment of heaven on earth through the consciousness of those who understand their true relationship to God and their divine calling to us. Be instruments of blessing and channels of grace and demonstrations of perfect life in a world that desperately needs to see and experience and receive the unlimited healing love that is always available from the infinite source of all good. The law of expectation that operates through your morning gratitude for healing is one of the most powerful forces in the universe. For what you expect with unwavering faith and grateful confidence must manifest in your experience because expectation is the natural result of deep spiritual knowing, the inevitable outcome of genuine understanding of God's love for you and His desire to see you whole and healthy and abundantly blessed in every area of your life. When you thank God each morning for your healing, when you express sincere appreciation for the restoration that is taking place within you, when you acknowledge with grateful confidence the perfect health that belongs to you as His beloved child, you are not engaging in wishful thinking or positive psychology or mental self-improvement. You are exercising one of the fundamental laws of spiritual existence, the law that states that consciousness aligned with divine truth must produce corresponding results in physical experience, that faith, expressed through gratitude, must manifest as healing in your body, that expectation based on spiritual understanding must materialize as improved health and increased vitality and growing wholeness in every aspect of your being. Your expectation is not based on hope that God might heal you if you are good enough or faithful enough or deserving enough. It is based on the absolute certainty that God has already provided everything you need for perfect health and is simply waiting for you to recognize and receive and accept this provision through grateful acknowledgement and appreciative recognition of His infinite love, healing power that is always working for your highest good and your complete restoration to wholeness. This kind of expectation creates what spiritual teachers have called a divine magnetism, an irresistible attraction that draws healing into your experience, that calls forth restoration from the invisible realm into the visible realm, that commands wholeness to manifest in your physical body because you have aligned your consciousness so completely with God's will for your life that there is no resistance, no doubt, no fear, no negative belief that can interfere with the perfect operation of divine healing in your experience. When your expectation is grounded in gratitude, when your anticipation is rooted in appreciation, when your confidence is based on thanksgiving for what God has already provided, you create the perfect conditions for miraculous healing to occur, for extraordinary restoration to take place, for supernatural wholeness to manifest in ways that will amaze your doctors, surprise your family, inspire your friends, and demonstrate to everyone around you the reality of God's love and the unlimited nature of His power to transform any condition and heal any situation that may appear to challenge your perfect health and abundant life. A woman told Dr. Joseph Murphy that when she began practicing morning gratitude for her healing, she found that her expectation of wholeness grew stronger each day. Her confidence in divine restoration increased with each morning's practice. Her certainty of complete healing became more unshakable with each expression of thanksgiving, until she reached a point where she could not imagine any outcome other than perfect health, could not conceive of any possibility other than complete restoration, could not entertain any thought other than absolute confidence in God's healing power working through her. And when her expectation reached this level of absolute certainty, when her gratitude had produced this quality of unwavering faith, her healing manifested so quickly and so completely that even she was amazed at the power of expectation, rooted in grateful recognition of divine love and wisdom and unlimited healing grace. Your morning gratitude transforms your relationship with time itself, moving you out of the anxiety of waiting for healing into the peace of knowing that healing is happening now, moving you beyond the frustration of hoping for future wholeness into the joy of experiencing present restoration, moving you from the uncertainty of wondering when you will be healed into the confidence of recognizing that you are being healed this very moment through the infinite love and wisdom and power that operates beyond all limitations of time and space and physical appearances. Most people think of healing as something that happens over time, a gradual process that requires patience and endurance and long periods of waiting for improvement to slowly manifest. But spiritual healing operates according to different laws. Divine laws that transcend the normal limitations of temporal sequence and linear progression. Laws that work in the eternal now, where all healing exists as present reality, where perfect wholeness is always available, where complete restoration is continuously being offered to anyone who will receive it through grateful recognition and appreciative acceptance of God's unlimited love and healing grace. When you thank God each morning for your healing, you step out of clock time into divine time. You move from the realm of sequential events into the realm of eternal presence. You shift from the consciousness of becoming healed into the consciousness of being whole. And in this shift, in this movement, in this transformation of your relationship with time, healing happens not as a future possibility, but as a present reality that you recognize and receive and experience right now, in this moment, through your grateful acknowledgement of what God has already accomplished for you, and within you, and through you. This is why Jesus said that whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. Not believe that you will receive it someday in the future, but believe that you have already received it now in the present moment, for in the realm of spirit, in the dimension of divine consciousness, in the eternal now where God dwells and works and creates, your healing is not a future event, but a present reality that is waiting to be recognized, acknowledged, accepted, and experienced through the simple but powerful practice of grateful faith and appreciative trust in the goodness and love and healing power of the divine presence within you. Your morning gratitude is your way of stepping into this eternal now, your method of entering the timeless realm where healing exists as accomplished fact rather than distant hope. Your technique for accessing the divine dimension, where wholeness is not something you must wait for, but something you can experience immediately through grateful recognition of what God has already provided for your complete restoration and perfect health and abundant life. Think of time as a river that flows in one direction, carrying most people along with its current from past through present into future. But your morning gratitude is like stepping out of the river onto the eternal shore where God dwells, where healing exists as permanent reality, where wholeness is always available to be received and experienced and expressed through grateful consciousness and appreciative faith and thankful recognition of divine love. A man told Dr. Joseph Murphy that when he first began practicing morning gratitude for his healing, he was constantly focused on the future, wondering when he would see results, calculating how long the process might take. measuring his progress by comparing today's symptoms with yesterday's symptoms, but gradually he learned to shift his attention from future expectations to present recognition, from tomorrow's possibilities to today's reality, from what might happen to what was already happening in the invisible realm of spirit where his healing was already complete. And when he made this shift from time consciousness to eternal consciousness, from waiting for healing to receiving healing, from hoping for wholeness to experiencing wholeness, his body responded with changes that were immediate and dramatic and lasting, demonstrating that healing is not bound by time but exists in the eternal now, where gratitude connects human consciousness with divine reality and makes possible the manifestation of perfect health and wholeness and abundant life right here and right now in this present moment. The daily practice of morning gratitude for your healing creates what can only be described as a sacred space within your consciousness, a holy sanctuary where divine love meets human faith, where infinite healing power encounters receptive appreciation, where the unchanging truth of your perfect wholeness intersects with the changing circumstances of your physical experience, and in this sacred space, in this holy place, in this blessed sanctuary of grateful consciousness, miracles become natural. Restoration becomes your lived experience, rather than your distant hope. This sacred space is not a physical location, but a state of consciousness, not a geographical place, but a spiritual dimension, not a material sanctuary, but a mental and emotional environment that you create through your consistent practice of grateful recognition, appreciative acknowledgement, and thankful reception of the healing that God is continuously working within you and through you and for you in every moment of every day. When you enter this sacred space through morning gratitude, when you step into this holy sanctuary through appreciative prayer, when you dwell in this blessed place through thankful communion with the divine presence within, you find yourself in a realm where the normal laws of physical limitation do not apply, where the usual rules of medical prognosis are transcended, where the ordinary expectations of human experience are superseded by the extraordinary possibilities of divine love and unlimited healing power, working through consciousness aligned with spiritual truth and grounded in grateful faith. In this sacred space of morning gratitude, your body remembers its divine blueprint for perfect health. Your cells recall their original programming for wholeness. Your organs return to their natural state of optimal function. Your systems restore themselves to their intended condition of harmonious operation. For in the presence of grateful consciousness, in the atmosphere of appreciative recognition, in the environment of thankful acknowledgement, everything that has been distorted returns to its true form. Everything that has been damaged is made whole. Everything that has been sick is restored to health. Everything that has been broken is perfectly mended by the healing love that flows freely in this sacred space where human gratitude meets divine grace. This is why your morning practice feels so peaceful, why thanksgiving for healing brings such comfort, why grateful recognition of wholeness creates such joy, for you are entering a realm where you are perfectly safe, completely loved, totally accepted, and absolutely guaranteed to receive everything you need for complete health and perfect wholeness and abundant life, not because you have earned it or deserved it, but because you are beloved by the God who created you, and who desires nothing more than your complete happiness and fulfillment and restoration to the perfect health that has always been your true nature and your divine inheritance. A woman told Dr. Joseph Murphy that her morning gratitude practice had become the most precious part of her day, the time when she felt closest to God, most connected to divine love, most certain of her healing, most at peace with herself and her life and her future. And she realized that through her grateful acknowledgement of healing, she had discovered not just a technique for physical restoration, but a pathway to spiritual communion. Not just a method for improving her health, but a way of deepening her relationship with the God who loved her and cared for her and was working constantly for her highest good and her complete healing and her perfect restoration to wholeness and abundant blessing. The ripple effects of your morning gratitude for healing extend into dimensions of existence that you may never have imagined, influencing not only your personal health and circumstances, but contributing to the healing of your family line, your community, your nation, your world, where consciousness knows no boundaries, love recognizes no limitations, and the healing that flows through one grateful heart becomes a blessing that touches countless other hearts, a light that illuminates countless other lives, a force for good that works to heal and restore and bless everyone and everything that comes within its influence. When you practice morning gratitude for your healing, when you establish your consciousness in appreciation for divine wholeness, when you anchor your awareness in thanksgiving for the perfect health that belongs to you as God's beloved child, you become part of a great healing movement that is taking place throughout the earth, a mighty work of restoration that transcends individual circumstances and personal conditions to address the deeper needs of humanity for hope and healing and wholeness and abundant life. Your grateful consciousness joins with the grateful consciousness of countless other people around the world who are also practicing thanksgiving for healing, creating a global field of appreciative recognition, a worldwide atmosphere of grateful acknowledgement, a planetary consciousness of healing expectation that makes it easier for everyone to experience restoration, that makes it more natural for healing to occur, that makes it increasingly possible for wholeness to manifest in every area of human experience and every aspect of earthly existence. This is the multiplication principle operating on a cosmic scale, the law of increase working through collective consciousness, the power of gratitude amplified by unified recognition of divine healing and love and wisdom and grace, working to restore not just individual bodies but families and communities and nations and the entire human family to its original state of perfect health and harmony, and abundant blessing from the God who created all things and who desires the healing and wholeness and happiness of every living being without exception. Your morning gratitude may seem like a small and simple practice, a personal and private discipline, an individual and insignificant act in the vast scheme of global events and cosmic forces, but in the realm of spirit and the dimension of consciousness, in the network of love that connects all living beings, your grateful recognition of healing sends out waves of blessing that travel to the ends of the earth. Your appreciative acknowledgement of wholeness creates ripples of restoration that touch lives you will never meet. Your thankful reception of divine grace opens channels of healing that benefit people you will never know, but who are blessed by your faithful practice and grateful consciousness and appreciative recognition of the God who loves and heals and restores all His children. Perfect will and unlimited power and boundless compassion. Think of your morning gratitude as a pebble dropped into the still waters of universal consciousness, creating expanding circles of blessing that reach farther and farther from their point of origin, touching shores you cannot see, healing hearts you will never meet, but all connected to your simple act of grateful recognition, all influenced by your sincere appreciation, all blessed by your faithful thanksgiving for the healing that God is working not just in your life, but in all life, everywhere throughout His creation. A man told Dr. Joseph Murphy that after practicing morning gratitude for his healing for over a year, he began to understand that his personal restoration was part of something much larger, something more significant than individual healing, something that contributed to the healing of his entire family, his community, his nation, and the world. And he realized that every person who practices genuine gratitude for divine healing becomes a healing center, a blessing station, a point of light in the network of love that is working to transform the earth into a place of health and wholeness and peace and abundant life for all humanity, and he understood that this was his true calling, not just to receive healing for himself, but to be a channel of healing for others, not just to experience personal restoration, but to contribute to universal restoration, not just to claim his own wholeness, but to help establish wholeness as the natural condition of all humanity through the power of grateful consciousness and appreciative recognition of the infinite love and unlimited healing grace that flows through everyone who opens their heart to receive and express and multiply the blessings of divine healing and perfect health and abundant life. Your consistent practice of morning gratitude for healing develops within you what spiritual teachers have called divine sensitivity, a heightened awareness of the healing presence that is always with you, a refined ability to recognize the signs and signals of restoration that are continuously occurring within your body and your life, a deepened capacity to perceive the subtle ways in which divine love is working to heal and bless and transform every aspect of your existence, from the inside out and from the spiritual realm. This divine sensitivity is like developing a new sense organ, acquiring a new faculty of perception, gaining a new ability to see and hear and feel the healing activity of God that is always present but not always recognized. always working but not always appreciated by those who have not learned to attune their consciousness to the frequency of divine love and the wavelength of spiritual healing and the vibration of grateful recognition that makes possible the conscious reception and appreciation of all that good that God is continuously working in our lives. As you continue your daily practice of morning thanksgiving, as you maintain your grateful consciousness throughout each day, as you establish your mental and emotional atmosphere in appreciation for divine healing and wholeness and abundant life, you begin to notice things that you never noticed before, to sense changes that are too subtle for medical instruments to measure, to perceive improvements that are too gradual for casual observation to detect, to recognize signs of healing that are too delicate for ordinary awareness to appreciate, but which become clearly evident to consciousness that has been sensitized through consistent gratitude and refined through regular appreciation, and developed through faithful recognition of the healing presence that is always active within you. You begin to feel the life force flowing more freely through your body, to sense your organs functioning more harmoniously, to perceive your cells renewing themselves more efficiently, to recognize your entire system reorganizing itself according to the perfect pattern of health that God has established as your natural condition and your divine inheritance and your rightful state of being. This divine sensitivity also extends beyond your physical body to encompass your emotional state, your mental clarity, your spiritual understanding, your relationships with others, your circumstances and opportunities, your overall quality of life. For as your consciousness becomes more attuned to the healing activity of God, as your awareness becomes more receptive to divine love and blessing, as your perception becomes more sensitive to spiritual truth and grace, you begin to recognize the hand of God working in every aspect of your experience, bringing healing where there was hurt, creating harmony where there was discord, establishing peace where there was conflict, manifesting abundance where there was lack, demonstrating love where there was fear, expressing joy where there was sorrow, revealing hope where there was despair. This heightened sensitivity to divine healing activity becomes one of the greatest gifts of your morning gratitude practice, for it allows you to see and appreciate and cooperate with the healing work that God is continuously doing in your life, to recognize and receive and respond to the blessings that are constantly flowing to you, to perceive and acknowledge and give thanks for the countless ways in which divine love is working to restore you to perfect health and wholeness and abundant life. A woman said to Dr. Joseph Murphy that through her practice of morning gratitude, she had developed what she could only describe as healing eyes, the ability to see the restoration that was taking place within her even before it became obvious to others, even before medical tests could detect it, even before symptoms disappeared. And this ability to perceive the subtle signs of healing gave her tremendous confidence and peace and joy, for she knew that God was working within her even when others could not see the evidence, even when circumstances seemed unchanged, even when progress appeared slow, and this divine sensitivity to healing activity became her source of strength and hope and unwavering faith that carried her through every challenge and brought her eventually to complete restoration and perfect health and abundant life beyond anything she had ever imagined possible. The cellular renewal that occurs through your morning gratitude practice operates at the most fundamental level of your physical being, reaching into every microscopic part of your body where the real work of healing takes place, where the actual process of restoration unfolds, where the genuine transformation from sickness to health occurs through the intelligent reorganization of matter according to the perfect spiritual pattern that God has established for your complete wholeness and abundant vitality. Every cell in your body has within it a divine blueprint for perfect health, an original programming for optimal function, a spiritual DNA that contains all the information necessary for complete restoration and perfect regeneration. But this cellular intelligence responds most effectively to the emotional and mental atmosphere that you create through your thoughts and feelings and spiritual practices. And when you establish this atmosphere in gratitude, when you saturate this environment with appreciation, when you flood this cellular consciousness with thanksgiving for divine healing and wholeness, you activate the deepest healing mechanisms within your physical being and set in motion processes of renewal and restoration that work continuously, intelligently to rebuild your body according to God's perfect design for health and strength and vitality. Your grateful consciousness literally speaks to your cells, communicates with your organs, dialogues with your systems, sending messages of love and appreciation and confident expectation that penetrate to the molecular level where healing actually occurs, where restoration truly takes place, where transformation genuinely unfolds from the spiritual realm into the physical realm through the power of consciousness aligned with divine truth and grounded in appreciative recognition of God's unlimited healing grace and boundless love for you. This cellular communication through gratitude is not metaphorical or symbolic, but actual and literal, for your thoughts and emotions create biochemical changes that directly influence genetic expression, that modify cellular behavior, that alter the fundamental processes of growth and repair and regeneration that determine your health and vitality and overall quality of physical experience. When you think grateful thoughts, when you feel appreciative emotions, you trigger the release of healing chemicals that bathe your cells in the optimal biochemical environment for restoration. You activate genes that promote health and suppress genes that contribute to disease. You stimulate cellular processes that enhance function and inhibit cellular processes that create dysfunction. You literally reprogram your body at the genetic level to express the perfect health that God has always intended for you as His beloved child and treasured creation. This is why morning gratitude is so much more powerful than you might imagine from its apparent simplicity. Why Thanksgiving for healing produces results that seem miraculous, but are actually the natural consequence of working in harmony with the deepest laws of life and health and cellular regeneration. Why appreciation for divine wholeness creates changes that are profound and lasting, and transformative beyond anything that external treatments or interventions could ever accomplish. A man told Dr. Joseph Murphy that after 6 months of practicing morning gratitude for his healing, his doctor told him that his latest blood tests showed changes at the cellular level that were so dramatic and so positive that they seemed to indicate a complete reversal of the degenerative processes that had been occurring in his body, a restoration of cellular function that was more characteristic of someone decades younger, a renewal of genetic expression that suggested his cells had somehow been reprogrammed for optimal health and longevity. And the doctor admitted that medical science could not explain such remarkable cellular transformation. But the man knew that his grateful consciousness had created the perfect environment for his cells to remember their divine purpose and return to their original pattern of perfect health and wholeness and abundant life. Your morning practice of grateful recognition creates what can only be described as a healing momentum in your life, a powerful forward movement toward wholeness that grows stronger with each passing day, that builds upon itself with each morning's practice, that accumulates force and effectiveness and transformative power until it becomes an irresistible tide of restoration, that carries you inevitably toward complete health and perfect vitality and abundant life, regardless of what obstacles may appear to stand in the way, regardless of what symptoms may temporarily persist, regardless of what medical opinions may suggest about your condition or your prognosis. This healing momentum operates according to spiritual laws that transcend physical limitations, that override medical predictions, that supersede normal expectations of how healing occurs and how quickly restoration can manifest and how completely wholeness can be achieved in human experience. For when you align your consciousness consistently with the healing love of God, through grateful recognition and appreciative acknowledgement, you tap into forces that are greater than any disease, more powerful than any condition, more effective than any limitation that may appear to challenge your perfect health and divine wholeness. Each morning, when you thank God for your healing, you add to this momentum, you contribute to this accumulating force, you invest in this growing power that is working continuously in the background of your experience to rearrange circumstances, to transform situations, to heal relationships, to resolve problems, to manifest opportunities, to create the perfect environment for your complete restoration to health and happiness and abundant blessing in every area of your life. This momentum becomes self-sustaining after a period of consistent practice, self-reinforcing through regular application, self-multiplying through faithful continuation, until you reach a point where the healing seems to take on a life of its own, where restoration happens more rapidly than you expected, where improvements occur more dramatically than you dared hope, where wholeness manifests more completely than you thought possible, and you realize that you have become a partner with divine intelligence in the ongoing work of healing and restoration that is always taking place throughout the universe, but which can only manifest in individual experience when consciousness is aligned with spiritual truth, grateful recognition, and appreciative faith. The beauty of this healing momentum is that it works in your favor, even when you are not consciously thinking about it, even when your attention is focused on other matters, even when you are sleeping or busy or distracted by the normal activities of daily life. For once you have established the pattern of morning gratitude, once you have created the rhythm of appreciative recognition, once you have set in motion the process of grateful acknowledgement, the momentum continues to build and work and produce results through the operation of subconscious forces and spiritual laws that function automatically to bring about the manifestation of whatever consciousness has been consistently impressed upon them through sincere and heartfelt practice. Think of this momentum like a mighty river that starts as a small spring, but grows stronger and more powerful as it flows toward its destination, picking up tributaries along the way, carving new channels through resistant terrain, eventually becoming an unstoppable force that transforms the landscape through which it flows. And so it is with the healing momentum that you create through morning gratitude. It starts small but grows continuously. It begins gently but increases powerfully. It commences quietly but eventually becomes a roaring torrent of restoration that sweeps away every obstacle and carries you triumphantly to the destination of perfect health and wholeness and abundant life that God has always intended for you. A woman told Dr. Epaphroditus Joseph Murphy that after practicing morning gratitude for her healing for several months, she began to sense that her healing had taken on its own momentum, that restoration was happening even when she wasn't thinking about it, that improvements were occurring even when she wasn't focusing on her health, that wholeness was manifesting even when her attention was directed elsewhere, and she realized that her consistent morning practice had created a healing force in her life that was now operating automatically, continuously, powerfully to bring about her complete restoration, and this understanding filled her with such peace and confidence and joy that she knew without any doubt that her healing was not just possible but inevitable, not just hoped for but guaranteed, not just desired but already accomplished in the mind of God, and now manifesting in her experience through the unstoppable momentum of grateful consciousness aligned with divine love and unlimited healing power. The integration of your healing through morning gratitude encompasses every dimension of your being, every aspect of your existence, every area of your life experience. For true spiritual healing is never partial or incomplete, always addressing the whole person rather than isolated symptoms, always restoring the entire life rather than correcting individual problems, always establishing wholeness that includes physical health, emotional peace, mental clarity, spiritual understanding, harmonious relationships, abundant provision, creative expression, and joyful fulfillment of your divine purpose and calling in life. When you practice morning gratitude consistently and sincerely, when you maintain appreciative consciousness throughout your days, when you establish your entire mental and emotional atmosphere in thanksgiving for divine healing and wholeness and abundant blessing, you create conditions that allow God's love to work through every channel of your experience, every area of your circumstances, every aspect of your relationships, every dimension of your opportunities, to bring about not just physical restoration, but complete life transformation that demonstrates the unlimited nature of divine grace and the boundless possibilities that become available to those who learn to live in conscious appreciation of God's goodness and love and healing power. This integration happens gradually but surely as your grateful consciousness penetrates deeper and deeper into every corner of your existence, as your appreciative recognition extends further and further into every area of your experience, as your thankful acknowledgement reaches higher and higher levels of understanding and application and demonstration of spiritual truth in practical life circumstances. You begin to notice that not only is your physical health improving, but your emotional state is becoming more stable and peaceful. Your mental faculties are becoming clearer and more focused. Your spiritual understanding is deepening and expanding. Your relationships are becoming more harmonious and loving. Your work is becoming more fulfilling and prosperous. Your creative abilities are developing and expressing themselves more freely. Your capacity for joy and happiness is increasing daily. Your sense of purpose and meaning is growing stronger. Your connection with divine love is becoming more intimate and personal and transformative in every way. This comprehensive integration of healing demonstrates that you are not merely a physical body that needs medical treatment, but a complete spiritual being who needs total restoration. Not just a collection of symptoms that require correction, but a whole person who deserves abundant life. Not just a patient seeking relief, but a beloved child of God who is entitled to perfect health and happiness and fulfillment and blessing in every area of existence without exception or limitation. The morning gratitude practice that begins with thanksgiving for physical healing naturally expands to encompass gratitude for emotional healing, mental healing, spiritual healing, relational healing, financial healing, creative healing, and every other form of restoration that contributes to the manifestation of abundant life in all its fullness and beauty and perfection. This is why people who practice morning gratitude consistently often report that their entire lives are transformed, that every area improves simultaneously, that all their circumstances align themselves with their highest good, that everything works together for their blessing and benefit and the demonstration of God's love in tangible, practical, measurable ways that prove the reality of divine grace and the effectiveness of grateful consciousness as a tool for total life transformation. A man said to Dr. Joseph Murphy that when he began morning gratitude practice, he was focused only on healing a specific health condition. But as the months passed, he discovered that his gratitude had healed his marriage, restored his relationship with his grown children, advanced his career, deepened his spiritual understanding, enhanced his creative abilities, increased his capacity for joy, and transformed his entire life into a demonstration of divine love and abundance and blessing that amazed everyone who knew him and proved beyond any doubt that genuine spiritual practice produces results that extend far beyond what human effort alone could ever accomplish. And he understood that he had tapped into the very source of life itself, the infinite wellspring of love and wisdom and power that desires to express itself as perfect wholeness and abundant blessing in the life of every person who learns to recognize and receive and appreciate the unlimited goodness that is always flowing from the heart of God to the hearts of all His beloved children. The legacy of your morning gratitude practice for healing extends far beyond your personal experience to create lasting impact that will influence generations to come, touching the lives of your children and their children, blessing your family line with patterns of health and wholeness and abundant life that break generational cycles of sickness and limitation and fear, establishing new traditions of spiritual practice and grateful consciousness that will be passed down as precious inheritance, more valuable than material wealth, more lasting than earthly possessions, more transformative than any gift that money could purchase or human effort could provide. When you heal through grateful recognition of divine love and power, when you restore your wholeness through appreciative acknowledgement of God's goodness and grace, when you transform your life through thankful acceptance of the abundant blessing that is your divine birthright, why you not only change your own experience, but you change the spiritual atmosphere of your entire family. You alter the consciousness that flows through your lineage. You establish new patterns of thinking and feeling and believing that will influence everyone who comes after you and everyone whose life is connected to yours through the invisible bonds of love and kinship and shared spiritual heritage. Your healing becomes their healing, your wholeness becomes their inheritance, your restoration becomes their legacy, for consciousness knows no boundaries of time or space or physical separation, and the patterns you establish through spiritual practice, the vibrations you create through grateful recognition, the atmosphere you generate through appreciative faith, these spiritual realities continue to bless and influence and transform long after your earthly journey is complete, long after your voice is no longer heard, but your spirit continues to work through the lives of those you love and those who love you and those who are yet to come into existence through the generations that will follow. This is one of the most beautiful and profound aspects of genuine spiritual practice, that it creates ripples of blessing that extend far beyond individual benefit, waves of healing that reach far beyond personal restoration, circles of influence that encompass far more than immediate circumstances. And when you understand this truth, when you realize the far-reaching impact of your morning gratitude, when you recognize the generational significance of your healing practice, you are motivated not only by your own need for restoration, but by love for those who will be blessed by your spiritual growth, not only by personal desire for wholeness, but by compassion for those who will inherit the consciousness you establish, not only by individual hope for healing, but by vision for the transformation that will continue to unfold through countless lives and countless generations, through the power of grateful consciousness aligned with divine love and unlimited grace. Your children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren will be blessed by your decision to practice morning gratitude, will inherit the spiritual wealth you accumulate through appreciative recognition, will benefit from the healing consciousness you establish through thankful acknowledgement of divine goodness and love, even if they never fully understand how their lives have been influenced by your faithful practice, even if they cannot trace their blessings back to your spiritual discipline, even if they are unconscious of the debt they owe to your commitment to healing through grateful alignment with God's will and purposes for your life and theirs. Think of your morning gratitude as planting seeds in a spiritual garden that will continue to produce fruit long after you have finished your earthly work, as establishing an endowment of blessing that will continue to pay dividends to future generations, as creating a trust fund of healing consciousness that will continue to enrich the lives of those who come after you. And let this understanding inspire you to persist in your practice even when you cannot see immediate results, to continue your thanksgiving even when progress seems slow, to maintain your grateful consciousness even when challenges appear overwhelming, for you are not working only for yourself, but for countless others who will be blessed by your faithfulness to the spiritual principles that govern healing and wholeness and abundant life. A woman told Dr. Joseph Murphy that several years after she had been completely healed through the practice of morning gratitude, she discovered that her adult daughter had begun the same practice without any encouragement or instruction from her, that her grandchildren seemed naturally attracted to expressions of thanksgiving and appreciation, that her entire extended family had become healthier and happier and more prosperous since she began her healing journey. And she realized that her grateful consciousness had created a spiritual inheritance that was blessing multiple generations and would continue to bless those yet unborn. And she understood that this was the true meaning of spiritual legacy, not what you leave behind in material possessions, but what you establish in consciousness, not what you accumulate in worldly wealth, but what you create in spiritual atmosphere, not what you achieve for yourself, but what you make possible for others, through your alignment with the eternal principles of divine love and unlimited healing grace. As you continue this sacred journey of morning gratitude for your healing, as you maintain this holy practice of appreciative recognition day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, you will discover that what began as a simple technique for physical restoration has become a way of life, a fundamental orientation of consciousness, a permanent alignment with the infinite love and wisdom and healing power that flows through all creation and desires to express itself as perfect wholeness and abundant blessing in every form of life, every manifestation of divine creativity throughout the universe. Your morning thanksgiving will evolve from a healing practice into a lifestyle of gratitude, from a method for restoration into a pattern of consciousness, from a technique for recovery into an identity rooted in appreciation for the goodness of God and the unlimited nature of divine grace and the eternal availability of healing and wholeness and abundant life for every person who learns to recognize and receive and express the love, created them and sustains them, and desires nothing more than their complete happiness and fulfillment, and restoration to the perfect health that has always been their true nature and their divine inheritance. This transformation of your entire approach to life, this fundamental shift in your relationship with existence, this basic change in your understanding of who you are and why you are here, and what is possible for your experience, this is the ultimate gift of morning gratitude practice, the lasting legacy of faithful recognition of divine healing and wholeness and abundant blessing. For you will no longer be someone who hopes for healing, but someone who lives in health. No longer someone who seeks wholeness, but someone who expresses completeness. No longer someone who asks for blessing, but someone who radiates appreciation for the infinite goodness that is always flowing through your life, and through all life everywhere throughout creation.